Welcome to our journey to independence number 6. This is the 6th video. And when we start out, we always go to sharing screens. So I'll share a screen. Okay, that we present to everyone. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what you're looking at here is is this testimonial signature page right here, and quite a few people signed that. I don't know if those are the people that understood it. They signed it, and the testimonial started on. This was a day after, I think. It was just it says, whereas the POTUS and Pontiff met for a public reading of the articles by and between the POTUS and Pontiff on the morning of the 23rd day of September 2015. All right, let me go ahead and do some muting here. And the reason why that happened is what they did is they met together, the POTUS and the Pontiff, and they created a private contract between those two offices. And what people were seeing on that day, on that morning, were the reading of the articles. But see, there was a lot of wording in there that was not kosher. They had words like immigrant, and they established that, and which was the way to their particular NWO, their New World Order. And keep in mind that Hitler, before that, he tried to have his New World Order with the same exact way that the POTUS and Pontiff were going. Stalin did the exact same thing. Okay, so just realize that this when they came out, they were getting ready with these articles. They were getting ready to take over this country under a brand new agreement, and right there in front of everyone, and nobody saw it. People were clapping and praising and everything else, and they didn't realize that their country was getting ready to be wiped out.
Right. They were basically having with the parade, the balloons, put all that stuff aside. They were basically having a corporate meeting.
Absolutely, it was a corporate article, public reading of an article. Articles of association, or however they wanted to read them. They were changing everything.
Yeah, and so the audience in attendance probably, followers, but clapping at every other statement. They're basically, those are votes. Those are applause for yes, do it, acceptance.
Right. So we basically told them that it says we're not invited, nor was a party to the articles, and therefore hereby denies any assumed or presumed responsibility and liability to either stand as surety or fulfill the agreement. If you're not a part of the agreement, you have to object. And keep in mind of the timing. Okay, this is just after the harvest moon. And also keep in mind that the Pontiff, which I'm assuming is Francis, his what do you call it? His scheduling was way before this. They had set this up for that particular day, which was the day after the harvest moon. They set it up that way.
Right. I remember we were talking about it, and I researched the date they announced it. I believe it was like a year and a month in advance. They announced that he would be here on that particular weekend.
Right. So that was planned. Keep in mind, because you're going to figure out why later on that was all planned. It says neither the Pontiff nor the POTUS possess power of attorney, nor serve in a representative capacity for the government of the United States of America, nor the United States of America, which is the country as a whole. Keep in mind that the United States of America is the name of the country. Okay, the U.S. and or the District of Columbia is a city-state within that country. They're not the highest government, contrary to popular belief. They have convinced everyone, you tell everybody a lie and you keep telling it over and over again, eventually everybody's going to believe it.
Right.
So just because the country and the government of that country had been laying dormant for quite a long time does not mean that they had taken its place, meaning the city-state of city of Washington, D.C. Now, the reason for this particular international public notice is for the fact that these particular aforementioned offices have a precedent of assuming and presuming that its words and agreements bind all people without regard to the laws of other countries. There's some specific wording in there in the public reading of the agreement and by between the aforementioned parties that was not clear enough as to whom was being spoken for and on whose behalf. Some of the wording was encrypted to appear to mean one thing when the meaning of the wording referred to something else, which was an example Bartholomew and his whole story, and that monastery. Okay, therefore the international community has been placed on notice, along with the POTUS and Pontiff, as to where the government of the United States of America stands on the reading of the articles by the POTUS and Pontiff. And this was issued by through the Office of the Governor and through the Office of the Secretary of State. That was the first one. Then we came back and said Catholicism is officially dead and Christians no longer have a world leader. The reason why that was is because on the evening of the 26th of September 2015, this was in between it was just after the harvest moon, just remember that. On the 26th of September, Pope Francis has taken the throne of the Father of all families. And in this title being celebrated by the Festival of Families in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Francis, now no longer Pope because he put himself on the throne of the Father of all families. When he did that, he ceased to be the Pope. And Francis was seated on a golden throne and was given gifts and was defined as the Holy Father of families. Once that happens, when the golden throne and the title was accepted and acknowledged, Agenda 30, the Catholic Church lost its Pope and the Christians lost its world leader.
So you're saying he's the last Pope?
Well, according to that, later on, I mean, we all know later on, he comes out and he starts apologizing. Okay, this was just a couple of weeks ago. He starts apologizing, and no man should sit on the throne. So he started repenting real quick. He has a video out where he starts apologizing, and he starts saying, no man should sit on the throne of Jesus or the Lord Savior and all that. He starts getting real humble, real fast, because he got caught doing that. These guys were going down a road that nobody wanted to go down. The same road that Hitler went down, the same road that Stalin went down, and other leaders before them. The same exact path. And believe me, you don't really want to go down that road. So something had to be said. So on that 26, we basically said, here it is. This is what happened. Then we put in there, it is very clear that the Illuminati and the Jesuits have been at war against the original Catholic Church and Christianity. It says the Illuminati and Jesuits started with the infallible claim of the Pope in 1962 and various other ritual sacrifices of children and child sexual molestation, which he came out a couple of weeks ago and apologized for. He says, this was not a good idea. The Jesuits took the papacy and named their leader Francis, and now the new title, the Catholic Church is dead because of the lack of a real Pope. We only had 2 people come up and say something about this, and that was it. All the rest of them didn't say a word. And these guys just happened to be in Italy. They came from Italy, and they said, oh, he's the father of all nations. And so we came back and asked them, okay, how much money did you how much money did you invest in this NWO? And they both shut up. In this particular NWO, New World Order.
This is obviously hard for the Catholics to take in anyway.
very difficult for them to believe that their pope actually started going down the road of pure evil.
Yes.
Pure evil, and we're just reporting it. We're not accusing the man of anything. We're just saying what we saw. And there was another video that came out and started showing each step that each one of these two men took, and they were all on the steps of Revelations, and then which sparked the Christians to come out and say, well, this is the Antichrist and all that. This is the end times. Well, folks, it happened in Hitler's time too. He did the same thing. Stalin did the same thing. It's a way that they start following is what they have to realize. They just start following the book of Revelations and doing what that book says, which brings them a lot of power. It's just an instructional thing, which a lot of people have a real hard time dealing with, or realizing that that's what happened. So people can go through and read this again to what we did, and we meant nothing against Catholicism or Christians, period. We just reported and witnessed what we saw. It was part of our testimony. This is what the man did. We saw the golden throne. We saw him sit on it, and we saw him be introduced as the father of families. And then they started bringing out this book. And if you can, can you guys see this book?
Not yet.
Okay, well, he started talking about his book, and it's called Laudato Si of the Holy Father Francis on Care for Our Common Home. And that was the basic brand for their particular NWO, the Care of the Common Home. He had gone to Congress and bypassed all the representatives and says, I want to talk to the people. And then he puts up his Illuminati sign, and then he, the 666 sign, and he and the representatives there at the U.S. Congress had no idea when to clap and when not to clap. They were all confused about what was going on. We saw it, but they were confused as to what was happening because I think they were expecting something else.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about the hand signal that he displayed. That's right. Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yeah, it was.
So that was the first. That was the second one, and then keep in mind, it says we come in at the 28th and basically stated the testimony, proclamations, declarations, and all other speech of the affirmed American nationals and the Yahushuans are hereby sealed in blood.
Yep.
Okay, now keep in mind every 33rd year and third day, you have the harvest moon, and then you have the blood moon. And then there are 4 conditions that have to be met.
There's a harvest moon, the super moon, the blood moon. That goes with the 3 days and the 33 years.
Okay, and the what was it? The eclipse, right? That's the
Yep.
4th one.
The eclipse is a yes, sir.
Okay, now that goes all the way back to the story of Jesus. And that's why he died at 33, and it was a symbolism thing that his testimony was sealed in blood.
Right, and the resurrection was 3 days, right? So 33 and 3.
Yep. And he lived for 30 till the age of 33.
Right. So all that was symbolism within the New Testament. So every time this scenario happens, this time of the harvest moon, the super moon, the blood moon, the eclipse, the whole thing, you will see the people that are in a leadership position go and try to establish something during that time. And spiritually, it is sealing their testimony in blood. And when you seal your testimony in blood, there is no other, you could say, ritual, practice, or anything else that establishes anything like that. And there's very few people that know about that, that time. And that's the time to do it. And that's their big secret. That is their Biggest secret they've had for thousands of years from the people
Right.
themselves.
Right, because you watch a movie and they promote the idea of sealing it in blood with like slicing your finger and a thumbprint and things like that. They don't really get into the.
They don't get into the real ceremony, right? Yeah, yeah. They always think that it's blood. You're thinking blood as in human body blood,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not what it is at all. It's that time where everything lines up, and it has to do with the universe and the stars and the moon itself, and during the eclipse, and all that has to come at once. And once that comes at once that happens, whatever was done between the time of the harvest moon and the blood moon is considered, all that testimony is considered sealed in blood, which means it's established.
Right.
And the world leaders do this all the time. They've known this for a long time, and a lot of people have not. They're told every day, drink his blood, eat his flesh, and all that. They're told that all the time. So that being said, let's go to basically the government of the United States of America and the United States of America itself on that day, the Monday, or just after the blood moon, that day, that government was established according to every law on the planet. Also, the belief and the faith known as the Yahushuans, or the Yahushuan, was established on that day. That testimony was sealed in blood. The General Post Office reestablishment, the government reestablishment, everything that we had done for the last 5 years was established on that day.
And if you look at it, that blood moon was a public notice.
That's right. World notice. Isn't that funny? Because they saw that same blood moon right over where the rain of the heavens was found, was rediscovered.
It lined up perfectly with everything.
Yeah, lined up perfectly with this country and the country of the rain of the heavens, the blood moon, everything lined up that day, or that evening.
Pretty wild.
It was really, it blew us away.
we didn't even realize it until after the fact. And
yeah, folks, we had no idea. Just so anybody that's listening to this, we did not plan this. We didn't know. None of us knew.
No, we only analyzed it later and stumbled upon this and that, and wow, the realization came ripping through.
Yeah, it all started rushing in. All the numbers and the 33 years Jesus story and the blood moon story and all that stuff started rushing in, going, oh my God, we just sealed the testimony in blood. That means the government's established. That means the reign of the heavens was reestablished and repopulated. As far as the society and the society temple was concerned, all of it had been established again under those same rules that these two individuals, the POTUS and the Pontiff, were trying to establish their new world order.
Right.
So if they were doing it, and it would have established a new world order here in this country, and we ended up doing it and saying, no, that's not going to happen, do the rules still apply to us the same as they do to them? That's the question.
Why wouldn't they?
We think they do.
Not only that, but we objected to what they were doing, so it really doesn't matter anyway.
That's correct. So our objection was established at the same time they were trying to establish.
Right.
Which, within our objection, established what we were trying to do, which was make this country independent again. And guess what, folks? This country is independent again.
Imagine how upset they are. Having orchestrated.
Well, that's why I think he came back and started repenting and started, apologizing for all kinds of stuff. No one should sit on the throne of Jesus, and he started saying, we apologize for all the stuff that happened to us. All the I can't remember the word he said, all these sins that we had committed against the people and all that. He started really coming out and saying everything. And that was Francis that did that.
Yeah, he was really repenting that day.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was really repentant, which is a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing to do. So
That,
that's why we have the testimonial signature page, which is right here. Okay, if you want to click that, you can click this page right on the reignoftheheavens.com, and you can go over. You can read everything, and here's the acceptance form. You can join that testimony if you would like. And you can also do a digital signature right here and keep a copy of that you have nothing to do with that particular agreement that those two were trying to put together.
yeah, when he came back all humble like that and then making apologies and everything else, that's when he was actually telling the world that he was out of business.
Mm-hmm. That NWO was not going to happen.
That's correct.
And believe me, the one that they were trying to set up was medieval. Man, that thing was medieval.
It was evil to the core.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. But when he came back and apologized, that's when he threw the hat in and said, "Okay, y'all got it for a while."
Well, that's why we were, praising our Father in heaven, and we knew it had come from Him because we didn't know what we were actually accomplishing. So we know that it was him, that He's the one that did it. We were just moved to do these things during this time that Francis was here. Each time it come up, we got to say something about this, or we have to say something about that.
Yeah, right. As Tom said, we objected to their, to their pronouncements. We objected to it, not realizing that whole extra layer of symbolism involved until days later. Yeah, that was outrageous.
Actually, it was a Monday morning. I just wanted to tell you that. It was Monday morning that we did that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It came out just the Monday morning after the blood moon.
Yep.
And after all that had happened, and it just came swooshing in. I mean, your testimony was sealed in blood. Oh my God, 33 years, 330, all these numbers start coming in, and then all just starts rushing in.
Right. That's right. I remember that, yep. Yeah, that Monday, yeah. Because that was a long weekend. We had to watch a lot of the Pope and a lot of video analysis and stuff. Yeah, that was a long weekend.
Right.
Yeah, watching the transfer of the East India Company.
Right, went from the Dutch to the British.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, that was changing of the guard.
We had written that down.
Yes, we had.
And showed them where they changed the guard. It went from the Dutch to the English, East India Trading Company. I remember that. And then they had the band that went by, and they just had musical instruments, but they were dressed in English military uniforms.
That's correct, of the 1700s.
The old uniforms that they had. But people didn't see that. They just thought it was a band. They didn't. If they would have had guns, that would have been changing of the guard of the company. Is what they were doing.
And when they changed step right in front of the reviewing stand up there, that's when they actually went to the military instead of the band.
Right.
People in the military know that the Marine Corps band is the one that always plays on any event at the White House. So there was something different going on there that people weren't aware of.
Oh, say that again. Say that again, because that's true, but I want to make sure everybody here heard that.
All right. Every time there's an event at the White House, the Marine Corps band always plays. And in this case, that was not the Marine Corps band.
That was the British Marine Corps.
That's right. Not U.S. Marine Corps.
That's correct.
In fact, all the military was sitting on the sidelines watching everybody else.
And they only passed in review. And they
had every flag known to man out there at that time, too.
They really didn't pass in review because they just marched off in turn and before they got to the review stand. They just vacated the parade ground.
Yeah. Either way, it was interesting
Yep.
how that all transpired, and that's what I think that wasn't that the first thing that started tripping us up. They started, whoa, wait a minute, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think that John brought that up
Yeah.
early Thursday or Wednesday, whatever day it happened. I mean, it didn't take long for John to see it. But I don't remember which day it occurred on, Wednesday or Thursday. But
What,
John was pretty quick on that one.
yeah, what brought it to my attention to start with was the fact they changed step, and they was also wearing the black three-cornered hat of the British military. That's
Right.
that's what started the whole thing. When I realized that that was not a band, that was the military.
And that ended up on LinkedIn, and we had a general say he liked that. He said, "Yeah, that's true. It was true."
Yep,
Because that was just a slap in the face of the U.S. military.
that was a slap in the face to the entire nation.
Yeah.
Every man, woman, and child out there, regardless of whether they're politician, military, or what. They just had the whole. They were in the process of losing their whole nation, their identity in its entirety, and they would have too if we hadn't caught it and did the process the way it was done. And I can assure you, I might have recognized it, but I wasn't in the driver's seat. Somebody else had to guide me through that.
Yeah, there's no way that we could have known that. What was happening there.
Nope, that was the Most High in the driver's seat. I was just there observing.
And we were all moved to do one thing or another in one time or another through that whole weekend.
Yep.
The whole long weekend from Wednesday till Sunday evening.
And the thing of it is, though, that it wasn't the same person who brought it up each time. It was always a different person.
Yeah.
They said this needs to be done or this needs to be done.
Yep. Somebody dig up a little bit of information here. Somebody else would dig up a little info there. But yeah, it was definitely a collaborative effort.
Just like we had a guiding hand putting us where we needed to go at the time.
Right, and we weren't going to say anything about that, about the whole thing, until that happened. When you started bringing that up about the British, I said, "Whoa, what are they doing?" We weren't going to say anything because the man was just visiting, and we thought, no big deal. If he wants to visit and do whatever he wants to do, people, praise him and say hello and all that kind of stuff. No big deal. But when they started bringing that up, that's when we started moving. Because they said, wait a minute, what are these guys doing?
Funny thing about it, though, Keith, a lot of us hadn't even watched it processed until after it started being brought up, and then everybody went back and started looking at it.
Right. And saying, we've got to say something about this. That's it. We have to object. There's no way we're going to be a part of this. Whatever these guys are cooking up, we're not going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We want to tell people why. Okay. There was. We'll just visit some of the research that we did, because we started going and they kept mentioning Francis's book, and they kept mentioning Our Common Home and all this other stuff. So we went and got the book and downloaded it in PDF and started looking into the book, and he kept mentioning Bartholomew. So, Stu, if you want to share some screens here and show people what we found under Bartholomew, which was interesting. All right, everybody should be able to see that. And it goes. The weird part about it, I mean, you can say it or I. It doesn't matter. This goes all the way back to Armenia. Go ahead, Stu. You'll have to unmute. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So this is the Wikipedia page for Bartholomew. It's a pretty long write-up. There's a lot of information. The interesting thing is when you slide on down, he's right here under the art and literature section. I'll read the highlighted sentence to you. The account of Bartholomew being skinned alive is the most represented in works of art, and consequently Bartholomew is often shown with a large knife holding his own skin. So we thought, at the time, we thought that was a pretty exciting little tidbit. So we played around with the Bartholomew, and that led us to the monastery, the Armenian king in the monastery, which we'll cover in a second. I don't have too much detail on Bartholomew, though. Who has some detail on the Bartholomew?
That's it right there. He said he's said to have been martyred. You'll have to excuse my pronunciation of some of these words here, but I'm just going to say in Armenia. Oop, bring it back down again. I was reading it.
Okay, whereabouts? Just
bring it back down. Keep going. Keep going where it says he was martyred.
Oh, okay. So that's way down.
Whoop, back up. Back up. There. Keep going. Hold on one second. There it is. He is said to have been martyred by Albanopolis in Armenia, and that's the significance of this St. Bartholomew Monastery. It says, according to one account, he was beheaded, but more popular tradition holds that he was filleted alive and crucified, head downward.
Yep. And the paragraph above it, along with his fellow apostle Jude Thaddeus, Bartholomew is reputed to have brought Christianity to Armenia in the 1st century.
Yeah, and it says both saints are considered the patron saints of the Armenian Apostolic Church.
Yeah.
Then they have, he said that had been converted, to have converted Ptolemaios, the king of Armenia, to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother had ordered Bartholomew's execution.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently it really upset them that he had converted to Christianity. The question was, why? Why was he so upset, and why was the man filleted?
Yeah, and on the right there is a picture of the monastery that we were referencing a couple minutes ago.
Right, if you look at that monastery, that thing has been destroyed I don't know how many times by earthquakes, blowing up, all that kind of. They keep rebuilding it over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have been the first time that Christianity was accepted by royalty. It had not been accepted by royalty before that, and that was their claim, claim to fame, as you might want to say. That was the beginnings of their claim of recognition. Now, this particular thing brought us to another revelation. Let's put it that way.
Zoroastrianism.
That's right. Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest religions in the world.
And the highlighted text here, is it showing up?
Yes.
I'll read it to you. Leading characteristics. This is of the belief system. Leading characteristics such as Messianism, the golden rule, heaven and hell, free will influenced other religious systems. So what we learned through reading about Zoroastrianism is that it was the primary world religion back somewhere in the range of 1700 to 1300 BC. And many primary components of Christianity, um, Catholicism, Muslim, the major religions that we know today came from Zoroastrianism, which was established, 1,300 years before Christ, roughly, according to historians. Pretty much concur on that. That's when he lived and he established the religion. So.
Right. So you have Second Temple Judaism, Gnosticism, Christianity, and Islam came from Zoroastrianism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a one God.
Yeah, go down just a little bit. It has the edicts right there. People will see it if they go to this section. They'll see what this religion was. Just scroll down just a little bit.
What was that?
No, too far.
Theology, I think it was.
No, go back up. You had it right there. You just had to scroll down because I couldn't see it over the. Just a little bit. Just going back up. There. Got it. Okay. It's good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Everybody needs to read this part because they need to realize good thoughts, good words, good deeds. It's a lot of beliefs of the Christian religion, a lot of beliefs of Islam, a lot of beliefs of Catholicism.
Right here.
There is only one path, and that is the path of truth. Do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and then all beneficial rewards will come to you also. Okay? Then all beneficial rewards. Don't people use that karma? I need some good karma.
Yep.
That's where the Indian religion part came from. Hey, what comes around goes around, buddy. You've heard those statements, right?
Yeah.
And those are its basic maxims. And there's only one path, and that's the path of the truth. Good words, good deeds, good thoughts. And believe it or not, Messianism came from this. Go ahead and click that one.
Messianism, the belief that a Messiah...
Hold on one second. It's not coming through yet. Did you click it?
Yes, I did. It's up here.
All right.
Should be showing up. Not showing up. I'll just read the quick passage.
Yeah, go ahead.
Messianism is the belief in a Messiah, a Savior or Redeemer.
And when was that established? There it is. It just came in. It doesn't say when, does it?
No, it doesn't say exactly when. I could, with a little time, I might be able to piece it together. But as you can see, it permeates Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism. Like I said, all major religions that we modern humans, so to speak, know of. They
Hinduism, Taoism. Yeah, I saw that too. It's in Hong Kong.
And there's Zoroastrianism right there.
Religious Zionism, same difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they do the same thing. The Messiah, the coming of the Messiah, right? And then the man dies and resurrects in 3 days and all that. Okay. That story is told over and over again in the movies. Look at The Matrix. Neo dies, comes back, and he's able to do magical things. Look at Transformers. Sam dies, and he comes back, and he's able to resurrect Prime.
Right.
It shows in all the movies over and over. The chosen one dies and comes back, and he's magical. He's able to do all kinds of same exact story over and over again. And you'll notice it in a lot of your movies, a lot of them.
Yep. Well, almost all of them, right? I mean, who dies in movies these days? Everybody that dies comes back to life.
Right, and has some kind of power. Are they able to do things?
Yeah.
Same story, same thing, over and over again.
Right. So jumping back to the Zoroastrianism, They also don't like, what was it, Keith? They don't like monasteries and monks. Was that
Oh
it?
yeah, the Zoroastrians despise them. They despise monks. They don't like monks at all. They look at Catholicism as there's 2.6 million people, by the way, I believe, that are practice that religion, that old religion. And it says they despise monks and monasteries. And Catholicism is actually a secular religion of this other religion, Zoroastrianism.
Yeah, here's a little quote from this is a different web page, Religious Tolerance. This is also about Zoroastrianism. And the quote reads, "Most religious historians believe that the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim beliefs concerning God and Satan, the soul, heaven and hell, the virgin birth of the Savior, the slaughter of innocents, resurrection, the final judgment, etc., were all derived from Zoroastrianism."
Yep. Oh, and it says with the exception of religious conservatives. Well, of course, because they've got to believe, they have to believe that their religion is the only religion in the world, and then that was their only belief, and that's it. They have to believe that, and they have to call everybody else secular. So, like in one of our other videos, we were talking about, here was SPLC, who was committing treason against the United States, and still is today, calling everybody else sovereign citizens and domestic terrorists, when they're doing the same exact thing. So, like begets like, or it takes one to know one. And so the same thing happens with all the other religions. They're saying we're the only religion.
And here's on the screen now, should be showing up.
Yeah, it's there.
Zoroaster, and he's the individual man behind the belief system. And down here, you see that they're estimating that he was around 1700 to 1300 BCE.
Yeah, bring that up just a little bit. Just one little click of just one little click. Just want to make sure it's not behind these icons here. You're good right there.
So right here, if you see my highlight.
Got it.
Having lived in northeast Iran or northern Afghanistan sometime between 1700 and 1300.
Yeah, isn't that the same pose that Jesus uses? Somewhat.
In the picture?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has I mean, I've seen him in that pose. Looks up, has the...
With the staff and all of it.
Yeah, same exact thing. Here and there, the white robe on, the whole deal.
Right. Yep. So that was interesting, finding out the beginnings of the major world religions of today, and how the story repeats itself again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah. When you grow up, so you're thinking that's all that ever was. You don't know that, and this is what you're told. You're thinking that's all this ever was. And what it's like is you're finally, you're freeing yourself, because you're growing up, and you're realizing that the things that your mother and father taught you, that they were taught and they were taught, were not necessarily all the truth.
Right.
That's right.
And so it brings all the mysticism, and in other words, all the mysticism goes away, and all of a sudden the people you're dealing with are just people. Leaders of countries and all these, they're just people, just like everyone else. And all that fog goes away.
Yeah, and also everybody's heard it. History repeats itself, and that's what it does. It just repeats itself every 33 years.
Right. Every 33 years, they establish something else, and it's a what do you call it, a pattern.
Yep.
And that's where the 99-year lease comes from, by the way.
Yep.
That's where all that comes from. And you have the full name of by which Zoroaster, I call him Zoroaster, you call him Zoroaster, so addressed the deity is Ahura. If that's Ahura, then you have Uhura in Star Trek, right? The communications.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord Creator, and Mazda. That's where the Mazda car come from. That's where they got the name. Supremely wise. He proclaimed that there is only one God, and that a singular, creative, and sustaining force of the universe. Isn't that what everybody's talking about today? He also stated that human beings are given the right choice.
Yep.
I'm sorry, given that I can't see that when you do that.
Oh, sorry. Thought
Okay.
I'd highlight it for him.
No, it says he has also stated that human beings are given the right of choice. If you could just do one little clip and then it'll go down, it'll come up. Just scroll down just a little bit. There you go, perfect. Oh, too much. There we go. Okay, where were we going there? It says, there's only one God, a singular creative and sustaining force of the universe. He also stated that human beings are given the right of choice. Does not everybody here believe in the right of choice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where it comes from. And because of cause and effect, are also responsible for the consequences of their choices. Has anyone not heard that in courtrooms? You're responsible for the consequences of your choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That belief did not come from Christianity, folks. It didn't come from Catholicism. It didn't come from Islam. They
That's
just
right.
adopted it and just repeated it.
Right. They're spin-offs.
Yeah, Zoroaster's teachings focused on responsibility and did not introduce the devil per se. The contesting force to Ahura Mazda was called Angra Mainyu, or angry spirit. It says post-Zoroastrian scripture introduced the concept of Ahriman. So, I'm sure everybody's going to make fun of our pronunciations here, but oh well. It says the devil, which was effectively the personification of an angry Angra Menu, or Mainyu, sorry.
So it started with that there's an angry spirit, so you need to do good for the sake of doing good. And then
Right.
eventually it got spun off into a personification of an angry spirit, which is the devil.
Correct, and then started then it started with the that's why where everybody comes up with the Lord Creator. When they say the Lord Creator, they don't know that does not come from that religion. I like to call him Creator. Okay, well you're just going to the original religion,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. It's not a big deal. And then they say the Creator of the universe. Same thing. The singular creative and sustaining force of the universe. Same thing.
Right.
It still comes from the same religion. And I've heard those terms, I don't know how many times. Haven't you guys heard them all your life?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Which also brings us back to the idea of chain of title
Right.
to the church.
That's correct.
And the monastery.
Right. That's what we were going with. We were looking into, and that was one of the reasons why we started looking into it. It says, why is this man having a problem with the chain of title? Because he keeps bringing up Bartholomew and Armenia and this monastery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a month ago.
Yeah. It was a secular. He created a secular chain of title that the Catholic Church did. A secular chain of title.
Yeah, he was operating on a broken chain of title.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we operate on a completed, repaired chain of title.
Right, because we put this in our great registry in the archives.
Yep.
As the beginnings of the Yahushuans and where the Yahushuans came from.
Yep.
So it takes a lot of, it really takes a lot of people humbling themselves in their beliefs to realize that it's not, you're not the original, guys. It's okay to be that way. This is the same beliefs that came from the Native Americans Same exact beliefs. They call him the Great Spirit. Same thing. It's great, the Great Spirit of the universe that provides all these things for us and all that. One God.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Actually, we introduced this to them a couple of weeks ago. Now, this should humble a lot of Muslims. They're a secular religion of this one.
Yep. They sure
They're
are.
not going to like hearing that, but you know,
Truth's the truth.
well, it kind of messes up their recruiting, recruiting rituals. But that's where this is where it came from.
The only way you can ever create peace on earth is to get the truth out.
Yeah.
You let the people analyze it themselves, and then it's up to each individual whether they're going to go with the peace or whether they're going to keep fighting. They're not fighting me. They're fighting the big man upstairs.
That's right.
Yep.
Their argument is with their maker,
That's correct.
and they need to stop bringing everybody else into their argument.
Yep. They need to get their argument down within themselves and make peace with themselves and their own maker. Then there'll be peace on earth.
Well, I'd say that's where we need to end this one. Excellent point, and that's an excellent way to end this. And thank you for joining us, folks, and we hope that you learned right along with us. And if there's any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment and ask the question. If we can answer it, we will. If we can't, we'll say, let's go hunting. Let's go take a look and find the answer for us, for everyone to know. So thanks for joining us, and we hope that you enjoyed this broadcast, our journey to independence number 6. See you next time.